Okay, good morning. How's everybody doing? Great. Good. Well, we are in for quite a talk. I'm in for a talk today. Our theme, Michael and I always collaborate earlier in the week. What are we going to do? And we came up with an African theme because we both have been to Africa a few times now. And I was trying to resonate with the theme for Africa. And it's resonating, Michael. It's been chaotic. If anybody ever been to Africa? Total chaos all the time, but you're in your heart the whole time, aren't you? Absolutely. You feel like laughing and crying, and that's to me, that's what Africa is, laughing and that place between you're not sure if you're going to laugh or you're going to cry it's just about to come out, and you're not sure how it's going to come out, either as a flaw or you're going to start crying. That to me is Africa in the midst of absolute chaos. So feeling kind of chaotic all week. I'm like, oh, well, of course, the theme is Africa. Okay, so before we get started, I wanted to thank especially Michael Wachner, our musical director here, and the Rev 4. We got Joanne Sachs, Janet Rasmussen, Judy Wachner, and Bonnie Francisco. Thank you, ladies. You're on for a wonderful treat with those guys. So if you would, please take a moment and close your eyes and take a big, deep breath. And just exhale the entire week out. Doesn't that feel good? I do this more for me. All right, one more big inhale. And just as you release that breath, take one more. And with this one, just let the entire week, all the stress, all the worry, all the concern, all the running from this place to that place, let all of that go, and just let this be the 1 hour this week where you just receive, and you just receive from Spirit into the depths of your soul, and you receive this nourishment that is coming to each and every one of us here, including myself. So just one big last breath, and just open up to Spirit. There we go. Oh, we could just stay there the whole time. That'd work. Okay, so with that, I'd like to introduce Michael Wachner and the Rev 4 for their very first song. So come on up, you guys.
You're a beautiful soul, it's such an easy thing to see. You're sent from the heavens above. You glimmer like a diamond from a lost treasure found. You're a beacon of light, you're a vessel of love. Timeless, eternal, you carry a spark from the very first fire. Across dimensions, they celebrate you with the joyful sound of an angel's choir. I am part of this great plan, that's who I am. Every time I sing, I remind myself I'm bigger than what I am. So I call on my soul, my rock of Gibraltar, for this is the ground upon which I stand. I am part of this great plan, it's who I am. Yeah. Oh, boy, yeah. Oh, boy, yeah. Everybody,
Okay, so the title of the talk today is Do You See Me? And I've been to Africa 3 times now, and the first time was actually with Michael, and was it 4 or 5 years ago? 5 years ago this month we went for the first time, and it was to Tanzania. And we got there, and this group that we went with, it's called the Image Project. They're here in Minneapolis, led by this woman, Deb Pangrel, who's she works at Medtronic, just an average middle-class woman. She just started this group to build schools for girls in Tanzania, and they figured out if you get the girls educated, the entire village goes up in time. So the key is getting girls educated. So she's been doing this, and I knew Deb, and she said, hey, would you like to go? And I said, hey, I got this friend Michael, and he'd like to go as well. So there was about 10 of us, and we got there. It was on a Saturday, and this group used to be affiliated with the Lutheran Church, but no longer. They're still friendly with these folks. And they said, would you guys like to come to church with us? And we're like, sure, yeah, sounds good. And so the next morning we get up, and Michael and I would pile on the bus with the 10 of us, and then there's some other folks. And we drive 2 hours out into the Serengeti, out into the absolute nowhere Africa. Michael and I are just sitting in the back of the bus happily, oh, there's a giraffe, look at that. And literally 10 minutes before we get to this church, which is like a mud hut with a thatched roof and the whole 9 yards, the assistant bishop comes back to us and says, hey, I hear you're a musician and you're a speaker. Would you guys mind doing the service? Remember that, Michael? Now, Michael, being a talented musician, a cappella, no problem, he's like, yeah, sounds good. And I'm like, I can barely speak. I'm like, sure. And everywhere I go, I've got my little black folder over there. Even in Africa, I got my black folder from my, which I've had for 30 years. And I'm like, yes, of course. And so I open it up and I'm like, all right, point 1, the golden rule. Who's going to fight me on the golden rule, right? So, point 2, don't shoot lions. And point 3, follow your heart. Right? So anyway, it takes me 10 minutes. I put a story into each one, and I get there, and they're like, come on up, Minister Mike. And my Irish Catholic mother would be rolling in her grave at this point. Yeah. And Michael has a great song beforehand, and so I get up, and I start talking, and the thing that saved me was I had a Swahili translator. So everything I'd have to speak in just little snippets, and then he'd translate. So and he'd go, and it would give me like 2.5 seconds to figure out what I was going to say next. And when things get difficult, don't lose hope. And I was doing this improv with him for like 20 minutes. And I was as curious as he was to see where this thing was going to go, because we were just kind of playing off each other. Like, this could go anywhere. So that's my first memory of Africa. And the second is... it's so great sharing that with Michael, because I don't know why, we were kind of the outcasts of this group, by the way. There was 10, and we always had, whenever we camped or did the safari, we were the ones that were always way out at the end, and we'll talk more about that with lions and elephants and everything else. But the thing that I took away from this, my trip to Africa was, and it took me years to figure out what was that, and it was, Africa to me is one big raw, and I mean raw heart. And it's a huge heart, but it's raw in every way. So whenever you feel, can you think back to when your heart was raw? That's Africa. And every time I leave, it's just that much more palpable for me. So in the best and the worst of ways. So to me, it's like, even thinking about it, it's that place between laughing and crying, but by God, you're alive. Does that make any sense? And that to me was what Africa, that's the thing that's taken me years to try to articulate. So when you're there, life is so fragile. It's just all pretenses are completely stripped away. Desperation is everywhere, and yet people are so quick to hug, so quick to laugh, so quick to connect and play. I mean, that's all we did with these kids for 2 weeks. We were exhausted by the time we were done. We were just playing with these kids and laughing the whole time. So I've got a quick video from Michael Walkner that Michael sent. Once again, we were thinking along the same lines. This morning I sent him a little thing, hey, I got a video of some of the pictures. And he's like, I do too. So we both, you'll get 2 little videos here today. We got one from Michael first, if it works. A little louder. Okay, so what you're seeing there, that elephant was not behind a gate. That was Michael and I walking to breakfast. And so we got to this, there's $2,500 safaris, there's $1,000 safaris, and then there's $350 safaris. Guess what we were on? For $350, you don't get the guy with the gun. That's an option. So Michael and I, and it's so dangerous. I mean, I still think back. There's the camp with the guides, and then from the camp they had tents that went out for like a mile, and our tents were the last two from the camp. So we're about a mile from any civilization or anything. And they would get you back to your tent. We had a great dinner, and they'd bring us back, and Michael's tent was like 50 yards from mine. And they get me back in the tent, and they zip me up, and they go, "Don't come out." And it's like, and you're hearing all sorts of animals. You're like, "No problem, no problem." And all through the night, during the day, it's so hot, it sizzles. And this whole circle of life stuff with Elton John, the circle of life. Next time you watch Disney, what a bunch of hooey. It's the circle of death. That's what it is. It's life living on life, bigger life living on the next, right? So all during the day, it's little things killing each other. And at night, and I'm trying to take a nap, and I'm like hearing death all around me. And then during the night, it's big things, very big things killing each other. And you haven't lived until you've heard the roar of a lion in the wild, and you're in the wild too, and there's nothing between you and it. And so it's about 11 o'clock at night, and I'm reading. I'm like, I think I'll stay up and read for a little while. And I hear this, and it's about a mile away. I thought, well, I guess I'll keep reading, no problem. And about an hour later, it's probably 100 yards, and it's getting louder. And sure enough, by 1 o'clock in the morning, he's right outside my tent. He's circling the tent. And I think a couple of talks ago about Byron Katie, being the present, being the moment. I question your mind. Am I okay right now? And so I'm practicing. Am I okay right now? I'm like, I'm okay right now, but 5 minutes from now it looks really bad. And I dragged my bed over to the corner of the tent, and there's no weapons, and there's, I grabbed these decorative sticks, and I'm holding, like that's going to help, whack, whack. And so I'm holding my bed. I'm going to throw my bed up and start hit it if he comes through. So I'm just waiting. And by 4 in, I must have gotten delirious because I was there, am I okay right now? Am I okay right now? Yes, yeah. And 4 in, I must have gotten delirious. I'm like, well, the heck with this lion. How does he know I'm not a ferocious tiger? For that matter, ferocious lion. So I start going, "Arr, arr," and then it occurred to me, maybe that's a mating call. Shh. So sure enough, 6 o'clock comes, and I am just wrecked, and the tent's wrecked, and I'm sitting on the cot with my decorative sticks, and I get up, and I'm like just miserable. And so I walk to breakfast, and I sit down, and everybody in the group that's closer to the cantina area with the guy with the gun, they're like, "Didn't you love the sounds of Africa last night? Wasn't last night just wonderful?" And I'm like, they're just not going to believe me if I tell this story, so I don't even bother. I just sit there with the rings. Michael comes in, and he's got rings under his eyes like this. It's like, "There was a lion outside my tent, and I could hear its stomach. I swear to God, I almost died last night." And I'm like, "Thank you, Michael. Thank you for validating my fear, my God." All right, so we go on we go touring around and looking at all the animals. That day was great, and then that night was fine. We got a good night's sleep, and I told Michael, "Hey, let's meet at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and we'll go get breakfast the second day." So Michael's got this awesome camera, and he's walking in front of me, and I teach communication skills for a living. That's what I do, and I think I'm pretty good, but I've never been tested in really bad situation. And Michael's walking in front of me, and we're in a game park, and he's going through his pictures like this, and I'm walking behind him, and from here to the clock, I look over his head, and there is a bull elephant, and Michael's looking down and walking to his death. And these elephants, these are really scary because they're smart. They're not dumb Minnesota moose. This thing puts his head up, and his ears go back, and he and I have a moment. And with all my communication skills, guess what I was able to do to warn my friend that he's walking to his death? That's what stopped Michael from walking to his death. And you saw the picture of the elephant there? So that was our elephant. Well, Michael starts doing the National Geographic thing. He starts taking pictures in a great time, and I'm like, this is bad. So I'm walking backwards, and I kind of go around the turn, and the next thing I know, my good friend just runs right by me, and he's like, run, 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 run! And right behind him is this elephant, and doing that. And I don't run. I have an artificial hip, so I was doing one of these. And we got out of it, but it was, to this day, my heart still gets going every time I think about it. So anyway, so that was 5 years ago. And then 2 years ago, my cousin called, she has 4 children, lives in New York. And she asked if I would go to Guinea-Bissau to help her adopt this baby. Her husband was going to stay home with the other kids. And I went with her, and we were there for 10 days. And at this orphanage, and we came back, and she adopted this beautiful little baby, Nate, and now they have 5 kids. Everybody's happy. And to my surprise, after a trip like that, which was actually my second trip after our trip, I just haven't been able to write about it. I haven't been able to speak about it, and I don't know, because every time I start to, I can't capture the experience. And then sorry if I'm going to get emotional here, about 3 days ago, 4 days ago, I was driving to a client's, and this song came on from the Cranberries, and I just started crying, and I was like, what is this? And I was connecting to what I experienced with this orphanage, and it's been so hard for me to put into words, but I did put a video together to capture the song and the experience of this, and we'll see if we can play it. There you go. So the words that she's saying there is, understand the things I say, don't turn away from me. Do you see me? Do you like me? Do you notice? Do you see me? Does anyone care? Oh, to my family. So I'm just hearing these words, and like that captures exactly what I was experiencing there. And it's not just to make us sad or, like the Sally Struthers, type of, where you see the kids with the flies. That was not my experience at all. And Michael can speak to the same thing. There was more joy and more aliveness, but at the same time, yes, of course, there's tragedy and desperation going on, but it's by God you're alive. And these kids, they were well clothed, they were well fed, they had shelter, they had, they were cared for, but there was a neediness that I couldn't quite put my finger on, and it came from the fact when they look at you, they just look at you just for an additional second. And that additional second was communicating something which I haven't been able to put my finger on for a couple of years, and it was, do you see me? Do you notice me? And that, to me, that is the essence of life. Do you see me? And consciousness. And when it's coming from a child, it's break your heart. So I do believe that we're here to connect with life. How do we connect? How do we connect? Well, the first thing to do is, number one, is to notice. To notice. Just be willing to notice. Because it's all around us all the time. You personally, and I mean every single person here, you are the witness of this universe. If not you, then who? Then whom? What you give your attention to, you become. And that's kind of the secret of life, is what the quantum physics, the scientists have proven scientifically now that what you give your attention to, you become one with that. You become one system. And the anatomical structure of the thing you give your attention to changes, and you change as a result of you giving your attention to that thing. So be careful what you give your attention to. And if you start giving your attention to love and joy and beauty, guess what you become? The embodiment of love and joy and beauty. In the Gospel of Thomas, which has been rejected by every mainline church out there, Jesus says, his disciples said to him, "On what day will the kingdom come?" He replied, "It will not come while people watch for it. They will not say, 'Look, here it is,' or 'Look, there it is.' But the kingdom of the Father is spread upon the earth, and men do not see it." Okay, it's not some afterward thing. He's saying it's here right now, spread upon the earth, but men don't see it. And to me, that's actually Buddhism and Taoism. It's awareness. Can you see the heaven right here, right now? My daughter graduating from college, just a few years ago, and it was, she just had that look in her eye, "Do you see me?" The dolphins, when I was sailing down with some of the ladies right here, down in Puerto Vallarta, we had dolphins jumping up and doing flips around the sailboat, and it was, "Do you see me? Do you notice me? And if not, I'll even jump higher next time." My dog, when I come home, you guys have dogs, they're like, "Do you see me? Do you notice me? Do you see how happy I am that you're home?" The birds in spring, "Do you hear me? In the early morning of the spring, do you hear me?" A child in an African orphanage, "Do you see me among all these other children? Do you see that I'm unique?" The lilacs bursting in May, "Do you smell me? Do you smell me?" If you don't smell, nothing smells. All right, so that's what we're here for, is to notice, to partake in this stormy, blustery fall weather. Do you notice that? So the National Geographic, there's 2 videos that just capture this so beautifully, because the animal world is full of this. And there's one where they're fishing off the coast of Mexico, and a gray whale comes up, and the people in the boat were very, it was a small boat, very afraid, and the gray whale turns sideways, and this eyeball, like this big, just was right there. And it was consciousness identifying with consciousness. It was looking at itself. And that's, "Do you see me?" This, 20, 50-ton whale, "Do you see me?" Yeah, I see you. Now just don't hit the boat. And then there's another one. Look this one up. There's type in leopard seal, or the Antarctica, leopard seal. And it was a National Geographic scuba diver. He jumps through, and he was filming these leopard seals, which are incredibly dangerous. And this leopard seal, he jumps in, and a leopard seal comes right at him, puts his entire mouth over the camera, and this guy just doesn't move, and he's terrified. And the leopard seal backs off and looks at him and swims away, grabs a, I'm sorry, what are the birds down there? The penguin. Grabs a penguin and brings it back and shoves it in the face of the camera, and the penguin swims off, and he looks back at the cameraman like, what's wrong with you? You're the strangest seal. And then he swims off, and this time he brings this penguin back, and he shakes it a little bit, and he puts it in the face of the camera, and the camera doesn't do anything. He just filmed this whole thing. The penguin, and the seal did this for 2 days. 2 days trying to feed the cameraman a penguin. And it's like, "Do you see me? Do you see that we're connected? We're one here?" So it's all around. The Native Americans believe that everything is consciousness. Everything is alive. And I totally agree with that. I would just add one more thing. And it's starving for our attention. It's starving for our attention. The life, the consciousness all around us is, will you notice me? Will you look at me? Do you see me? From children to flowers. And here's the secret. And of course the yogis have been doing this for 5,000 years, but the scientists just figured this out. So what I'd like you to do is just an experiment. Why not? Take just a minute here, and I'd like you to stand, not yet, I'd like you to stand up and just greet your neighbor with a hug or a handshake. So for the new people, we hug, it's optional, it's not, you don't have to. But hug or handshake. And as you do this, I want you to look into the eye of the person you're saying hello to, not for a big, long, awkward stare, but just, I want you to just take one extra second and really look, just for a second, and really notice. And, meet 2-3 people, and then we'll come back together. So up on your feet and meet your neighbor. Okay, so come on back. So my question, even though it was just a brief little thing, do you feel just a titch different right now? Yeah? Oh, so noticing someone else, you change. You change, all right? So if you want to feed your soul, notice and start noticing everywhere, and it's all around us all the time. Just, the stop and smell the roses. But who said you can only have to do that once a day? Do that 5,000 times a day. And it changes your anatomical structure. And then you walk around with that sweetness everywhere you go. But once again, it's choice. It's choice. And the thing is, there's no free move here. We're giving our attention to something all the time. So what is our attention to? The second thing of how to connect is be yourself. Be yourself. And when I was there, especially with Michael and I, we were just totally thrown out out of control as soon as we got there. But with Liz, my cousin, in this orphanage, it was a kind of contained area, and she was very busy with her newborn. So I was just kind of left with 200 kids, and I didn't know what to do. I don't know. So I'm kind of walking around, and they're all like holding my hands, and we're kind of walking through the compound, and I'm like, this is kind of awkward. I don't know what to do with myself here. And they're kids, And so I thought, what would I do with my nephews? And I thought, I know what I'd do with my nephews. So we're walking around, and this kid's right next to me, and I just shove him. I let go of his hand, and I just shove him in the shoulder. He turns, and he looks at me, and then this big grin, and he shoves back, and suddenly it was like this massive rough tag in the compound, and every time I would come out, it was just total chaos, and tag. And so that's what I do. And I was just told that's what I would do. That's me being me. And then I taught him rugby scrum. So we'd get like 10, 15 kids in a row like this. And then on my side, I had 10, 15 kids, and we'd like hit. And then we'd like start pushing back and forth. And we did trust falls, and we did all sorts of stuff. Piggyback race, that was the best. That was the best. These kids were howling with laughter with that. But this is just how I would interact with these kids. Every single person here would interact differently. But I was just trying to be myself, and when I was being myself, they got to be themselves. So wherever you go to connect, find that sweet spot where you get to be you, and it shouldn't feel hard. If it feels hard, that's not it. And then the last thing I would say to connect is to be willing to throw yourself off the cliff. It's one of those things where, you got nothing to lose. Throw yourself into the fray of life. Life is a mess. Sorry, but it is. And I was thinking that this morning as developing this talk. I was like, this talk is a mess, but it came together. But Dave Matthews said, jump in the mud. Get your hands filthy with love. Give it up. Love it every day. Eckhart Tolle, I saw him a few years ago, and he was great. He came out, and he's like a little elf of a man. Anybody seen Eckhart Tolle, the Power of Now guy? And he's very funny, actually. And he comes out, he sits down, and he's sitting there for like 5 minutes in total silence. And he goes, if you came for a motivational experience, I don't do that. And yeah, it was very good. And then later on, he took a piece of paper, I'll do it right here. And he tore it, and he goes, "This is your life." And he goes, "Where are you right now? But it is finite. It is finite, and you have nothing to lose than to open your heart and throw yourself into the fray of life, throw yourself into the mix, the mess of life, and give it everything you've got, because it is finite. It is finite." Stephen Jobs, one of his greatest quotes, he said, "Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose. You are already naked. There is no reason to follow your heart. There's absolutely no reason to follow your heart." And as I look back at this, my cousin Liz, who she demonstrated this so beautifully of mother of four from a pretty upscale community in Long Island, and she just went through this entire experience so graceful. I wasn't quite as graceful at night. It was degrees, and then the generator would go off at midnight, and the fans would go off, and I was an outward bound instructor. I can handle rough. This was horrific, and you're under malaria screens, malaria nets. So it was either open the malaria net and breathe, or stay under this and risk malaria. So in the morning, I'd say, "Hey, how was your night, Liz?" And she's like, "Well, I was a bit warm." A bit warm? What do you mean a bit warm? So she just was so graceful through the whole thing. And then we went out to the village where the baby was actually originally from, and they started, they all got together, and then we started hearing this, "Bah, bah, bah," and they're dragging this goat over. I'm like, my God, they're going to kill the goat as a sacrifice. And so we begged them not to do that, and of course they didn't. And my favorite picture of Liz, was someone who's just throwing themselves into the fray of life, out of their comfort zone, is she's got her little baby from Africa. She's tall and thin, and she's got her leash to her goat, to her pet goat, and she's walking around. And if you could give her a glass of Chardonnay, she would have been, right at home in a Long Island country club. And so throw yourself into the mix of life. So in closing, connection is the key to our happiness. If we start seeing the miracles that are around us each and every day and throw ourselves into the fray of life, we will truly be living the life that we were meant to live. So thank you and amen.
This is a song called Grand Design. Birds fly south when the leaves fall from the trees. Flowers bloom in the warm summer breeze. Simple but a miracle, managed by design, enlightened by a love divine, gifted from the true divine. It's all by grand design. It's all by grand design. It's all by grand design. Yeah. It's all by grand design. Yeah. Feel the wind blow, dancing moonbeams way up high. See the sunrise in the morning, paint a rainbow across the sky. Oh, I've come to know what a miracle this is. A miracle of love, gifted from the true divine. Oh yeah, it's all by grand design. Yeah, it's all by grand design. Yeah, yeah, it's all by grand design. It's all by grand design. It's all by grand design. Oh, 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 oh. It's all by grand design. Yeah. All by, it's all by grand design. Yeah. It's all by grand design. Did my own talk. I do some channeling as well. Most of my songs are channeled, but just past December I actually started getting some visitations by a beautiful group of Arcturians that I nicknamed the A-Team, and we did some play with them. So we have a little bit of time here, and Michael talked to me yesterday. He said, "Hey, you want to do a meditation?" And I'm like, I had planned it, but sure, why not? But actually, in truth, I did plan on it because about 3-4 nights ago, I woke up in the middle of the night and it just kept getting, that's what they do. They like to wake me up around 3 in the morning. I guess the veils are thinner then for me. I can really receive a lot more then. But it kind of gave me an overview of some of the stuff that they thought might be useful for us to do today. So if you're willing to play a little bit, we've got about 10 minutes, and I'll try to do my best to squeeze everything that they passed on to me. I might even actually just take a minute here. If we can close our eyes, I'm going to see if we can get them to join in and help out with this. And I will just give you preface. When I was here last week, I kind of talked about something that they brought forward that it's a good thing for you to use pretty much on your daily life if you find it comfortable and easy and something that serves you. And that is to imagine that there's an energy space around you that's shaped like an egg. And this energy egg is what they call it. I love the name. This energy egg is filled with you and filled with divine space, both. And it extends about the length of your arm out, and if you could raise your hands above you as far as you could, it'll raise, the top of the egg is about up there, and then it goes about that length below your feet as well. Now this is just a portion of your concentrated energy. There's a large portion of energy which extends much farther than that, but this is a space that's yours. This space is completely yours, and yours to manage and maintain and clear and do as you will. And then if you would imagine, at the end of the egg, there are 2 hoops that are shaped like eggs that you can spin in opposite directions, and these are filled with absolute divine energy. And you can command these to spin, and if there's any old places within you, pieces of habit energy or things that continue to happen in your life that you feel you've done with. You know, I've been there, done that, don't need that anymore, I'm going to let that go. You could just command these hoops to start spinning. These hoops are absolutely filled with divine energy, and they will basically disconnect any strings that are coming from outside of your egg that reach in and touch you on the inside of your egg. They could be connected to any part of your body, so if you feel a part of your body that you see a string, it could be any color. If it's something that you don't want, just command it to be disconnected. Let it go. And that's the premise that we're going to play with for a minute. So if you take a breath with me. We're going to go, since the theme is traveling, I'm going to see if I can bring the A-Team in very quickly here. We have about 5 minutes or so. Since the theme is travel, we're going to go a long way right now. So I'm going to ask you to open your heart, open your mind to the possibilities. As we join you now, with the theme of travel, we ask you to imagine that this energy egg is now traveling out beyond the atmosphere of the earth, out into space now, completely safe within your energy egg. You can breathe, it's beautiful light, it's warm, whatever temperature you desire, that's a temperature that will be found inside the egg. You're moving faster now. If you can imagine traveling at the speed of light, you're moving much faster than that. Outward, into space. As you pass nebulas, galaxies now, even moving faster and faster. Stars twinkling as you speed by. Faster than anything imaginable in your scientific world. With ease and with wonder, you look about. Colors that you've never seen before. Depth of space that is so deep it's beyond the human imagination, yet you're seeing it now. Galaxies speed by you in a blink of an eye. Nebulas rise up like mountains, 1,000, 1,000,000 times wider than the earth. You pass galaxies that are 1,000,000,000,000 light years wide, and yet you pass it in a blink of an eye. And looking forward, you see a bright light, a sun, yet it looks slightly different, and it's calling to you, and you feel drawn to move towards this light. It's like a sun, yet the light emanating from this sun is different than anything you've ever seen. It's almost liquid light, plasma light emanating from this incredible, beautiful sun. Even though the colors of the light are white, you see rainbow colors, colors that you've never imagined could even exist, yet you're seeing these colors. Ultraviolets, sub-ultraviolets, colors that you could not even imagine, that you could see with your human eyes, and yet you're seeing it now. As you move closer to the sun, you find out that it's not only light emanating from the sun, but it's sounds. Sounds that touch your heart to the very core of your soul, calling to you, opening your heart, taking you back to a place that you remembered but have long since forgotten. And as you get closer to the sun, you realize that this is not a single object of fissionable energy. That is, it is in fact a sun that is comprised of billions and trillions of beings just like yourself. Energy eggs, beings, all gathered in this space. The sounds are what you might imagine a choir in heaven. A host of angels, archangels, beings beyond your imagination sing to you. And as you come closer, trillions and trillions of energy beings turn to look at you. They turn their energy and their love toward you and they say, "We see you." And they know that you have come to visit them, and to join them, you must pass through an energy that surrounds this beautiful, wondrous place. And they suggest that there are some things that are lower frequency and a little bit heavier that will not pass through this energy gate. So with an intention now to pass through this and join these beings for just a few moments, ask all that's inside of your energy egg, all of those energy pieces that no longer serve you, that you would like to let go of, whether it be a health issue, an issue around money, an issue around relationships, whatever it may be. Just ask that it be cleared. It has been something that has been there according to your request, so thank it, bless it with love, and when you're ready, simply command your energy to pass through the energy gate surrounding this beautiful sun of celestial beings. And as you move through the glass, somewhat like a stargate, feel it clearing away all that no longer serves you. In this space, you'll feel clearer, lighter. You feel the sounds of archangels celebrating your arrival, your presence here in this space, delighting in who you are, expressing their gratitude for your presence in their space. Telling you, we see you. We see you. You are here. And we love you. And when you're ready, you can say goodbye to them for now, but know that you can come back here anytime. You can get here at the speed of love, at the speed of thought, simply by commanding to be there. If you have old habit energy strings that may reconnect, know that you can always clean them out. You can always come back and visit these beautiful celestial beings who are here to love you and guide you, share their wisdom with you, help you through this trying times, these raw times, to remember who you are, who you want to be, and how you want to be. For it is you to decide this now. Clear out your energies, decide who you want to be, what you want in your energy space. Moving forward, you touch every single heart that you come in connection with. So when you're ready, receive their blessings and their love. Say your goodbyes for now. Begin the journey back. In an instant, you're here. Back in your seat. Feel your limbs, blood running through your veins, breath coming into your lungs. Welcome back. And it is this which we send to you our deep love and our deep gratitude for being here today, for sharing your love, for receiving us in this wonderful, wonderful, truly blessed space. And just with that, we bid you adieu. Say farewell for now. Blessings. We are children of the stars. We are made of sacred light. We carry in our hearts the sound of one. Will you sing with me? I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am. I am. We are one with the infinite. We shine with magnificence. We carry in our soul the light of one. I am, I am, I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. We are everlasting, ever love, forever light, forever love. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. I am. Oh Lord, I am. And I will carry this day, this love in my heart. With a heart full of gratitude, I will pray. I am. I am. I am. I will remember that I am. I am. I am. Oh Lord, you know I am. I am. I am. Oh, I am. I am.
As you go forward today, I'll leave you with these words of gratitude from Sri Chinmoy. Before the final curtain goes down on my life, I shall say to my Mother Earth, my grateful heart is all for you, is all for you. Have a wonderful week. Amen.
We are children of the stars, and we are made of sacred light. We carry in our hearts the sound of one. Will you sing with me? I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am, I am. We are one with the infinite. We shine with magnificence. We carry in our soul the light of one. I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. We are everlasting, ever love, forever light, forever love. I am, I am, I am. I am, I am, I am. Oh Lord, I am. And I will carry this day, this love in my heart. With a heart full of gratitude, I will pray. I am, I am, I am. I will remember that I am, I am, I am. Oh Lord, you know I am, I am, I am. Oh, I am. I am.
As you go forward today, I'll leave you with these words of gratitude from Sri Chinmoy. Before the final curtain goes down on my life, I shall say to my Mother Earth, my grateful heart is all for you, is all for you. Have a wonderful week. Amen.